into the Danny, February 17th, 2026. And today I'm going to give you 3 reasons why going to Walt Disney World on a long weekend or a holiday weekend makes absolutely 0 sense. Like, subscribe, and let's roll. Ankle's feeling better day by day, but you know, it's a work in progress. So, coming to Disney World on a long weekend. All right, hold on, I'm walking by the Luciano Pavarotti of birds here, so give me a second, please. So you're thinking of coming to Disney World on a 4th of July weekend, a Christmas week, a New Year's week, spring break month, which I believe is it's March, right? I believe it's in March. Here are some of the things you might want to consider before you do that. So, you're thinking of coming down on a long weekend or a holiday weekend. Now, I understand that when you're thinking of coming to Disney World, you just can't cherry pick when you want to come. I understand most people have a job. Most people are running businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, that you do have time constraints, and maybe on a 4th of July weekend is the only time you can really get off an extended amount of time to visit Disney World. Maybe you can only come during Christmas or New Year's or whatnot. So I am completely sympathetic to that, but I want you to keep these things in mind. And if you absolutely have to come during a long weekend, here are some of the realities that you're going to have to face. Walking over to that little park here. It's where we saw the guy who thinks he's John Wick. That's right, Donna's going home. Pour herself a nice big gallon of wine. The first thing you're going to want to consider when it's time to visit Disney during a long weekend are the financial ramifications. What do I mean? When you come during a long weekend, you have to expect everything to cost more, and it will cost more. So for instance, your hotel, typically they're going to go up. Rates are going to go up. But I think what happens is that people, when they come to Disney, they think, all right, well, it's just going to be my hotel and my flight. No, it's going to be other things. Your Ubers, your Lyfts are going to cost more. So it's not only going to be your Ubers and your Lyfts that are going to go up, and your hotel rates are going to go up, and your flights are going to go up. You're thinking, all right, I'm going to go during the long weekend. If I want to ride a ride, I'm just going to get a lightning lane, right? Wrong. A lot of times the lightning lanes, either they'll sell out or they'll become so expensive that you're probably not going to want to buy it. So let's say you're going with a family of 4. You want to ride Tron. Let's say Tron, the lightning lane on a typical Tuesday is $20 per person. So you're thinking, all right, 80 plus tax. You're out the door with $100, $90 for the family, right? So that's what you're thinking. Wrong. The lightning lanes are now probably going to go from 20 to 40. So keep that in mind when you're going to go to Disney during a long weekend. Financially, it's going to be a lot more of a burden for you, whether it's just a family of 4 or you're just going with your partner, your significant other. Another example of sort of the financial burden that you're going to incur if you come during a long weekend is, I believe now the admission tickets for Disney are being priced by demand. So for instance, if a ticket on a typical Tuesday is, let's say, $150, $160, expect on a long weekend for that to trend up. So think like 180, 190, 200. Another financial implication. You'll notice that if Disney has a special, whether it be for dining, merchandise, beverages, any of that stuff will somehow magically disappear for long weekends that are obviously for high demand. Reason number 2 why I do not recommend to come on a long weekend, and like I've stated, if you have to come on a long weekend because of scheduling conflicts, I completely understand. But reason number 2 is pack your patience. There's going to be a lot of long lines. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, of course there is. Well, let me give you some examples that I've heard from guests. Number 1, take an attraction like Flight of Pandora and Animal Kingdom. on a typical Tuesday can be an hour wait, right? Not bad. It's a great ride. Waiting an hour for that is not a bad deal. On a long weekend, 4th of July, spring break, Memorial Day, President's Day, Labor Day, you can expect easily for an attraction like that to get to 3.5, maybe even 4 hours. If you want to go and sit down at a table restaurant, maybe on a typical Tuesday, it'll be, I don't know, let's just take the Crystal Palace in Main Street. That might take you 20-minute wait, 30-minute wait. That's going to go up to about an hour and a half, 2 hours. You might have to be eating Chick-fil-A when you leave the park. Something that I love to do, obviously. You wake up, you're going into the park. This is back when I used to live back in South Florida. You go into the park, you're thinking, I'm going to get myself a nice cup of Joe. Well, guess what? The line's going to be about an hour for that cup of Joe, and there ain't no fast pass. So yeah, pack your patience. A lot of waiting. You're going to wait for elevators. You're going to wait for escalators. If you want to watch the fireworks, which are awesome in Magic Kingdom, when those fireworks are done, easily could be an hour and a half. By the time you get into the monorail, get off, catch a tram back to your car, or wait for an Uber. So if you want to come on a long weekend, you better pack your patience. These are townhomes in Celebration. They go for anywhere for like 5, 6, 700,000, but they're big. They're like 3,000 square feet. Sort of these like New York style brownstones. Obviously it's not brownstone, but sort of in the same vein. They're very nice. I mean, think about it, right? If you come on a typical Tuesday, you may go into the park. You're waiting 45 minutes for Guardians of the Galaxy. It breaks down. All right, no big deal. You walk out. You get, a complimentary fast pass. Come back later and ride the ride. If you come during a long weekend, you could be sitting there for 2.5 hours. It breaks down. More than likely, since it's so crazy busy, you might not even get a fast pass. And if you do, you're going to have to come back at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So keep those kinds of things in mind. In my last video, when I went to Disney Springs, take, for example, a restaurant like Polite Pig. Sort of mid-level barbecue. It's a little bit better than, think of like a chain like Mission Barbecue. It's a little bit better than that. Had a big line. You have to wait 30 minutes just to order. Then you got to wait another 30 to receive your order. The kitchen's so slammed that you're probably going to get your food not cooked well, or something's going to be missing or something like that. Now, if you were here on a typical Tuesday, maybe that wouldn't happen. You walk right up there, you order your food, it comes out pretty decent. And yeah, it's such a different experience. Really love the homes here. It's like Father of the Bride. That's what it reminds me of, Father of the Bride. And my last point on lines. Whether you believe it or not, lines actually do cost you money. Why? Because they're costing you time, right? And what is time? What do we always say time is? Money. So if you're sitting there and you're waiting an hour to get some coffee in the morning at Starbucks, well, that's taking away time that you could be going on, the Seven Doors Mine Train or Space Mountain or one of those. Yeah, and I think I said it already at the beginning of the video, but my ankle is getting better. I've been icing it. I iced it last night with like a real cold wet rag soaked in Epsom salt. Great trick. No science behind it, but it seems to work. Which, nowadays it's really crazy how much stuff they were wrong about when it comes to the medical front. Okay, the third and last reason why visiting Disney or any of the theme parks in the Orlando area on a long weekend is just not a wise move. And again, I've already said it like twice in this video. I understand if your schedule only allows you to do that. Just be aware of what you're going to experience. The third and final reason why visiting Orlando is just so rough is this. Whenever you travel, I don't care if you're traveling an hour north, an hour south, I don't care if you're traveling to the DMV. I don't care if you're traveling to Australia. There is one undeniable fact. You are going to meet some of the best people in the world. You're going to come to Disney. You're going to come to Universal, wherever you come here in Orlando, and you will meet some fantastic people. You're going to meet great cast members, really nice guests from all over the country, all over the world. But without a doubt, if you come on a long weekend, you are going to meet some unbelievably, and you're going to have to deal with them and run into them and, interact, however brief it is, with these people. You will meet some unbelievably stupid, obnoxious, rude people. And the problem is, when you come on a long weekend, that's only going to get amplified. You see, the first two things, while they're annoying, you can kind of live with them more for whatever reason. But when you got to deal with people that don't say please and thank you, people that are going to run into you, people that are going to give you nasty looks, people that they walk around Disney as if they own it, as if they can just get in a big giant cart because they're 450 pounds and can't walk, and now expect you and your kid to move out of the way because they want to ride down Main Street because maybe their parents didn't hug them. You're gonna have to deal with that. You're gonna have to deal with people that, frankly, are anti-family, and we all know what they look like. I don't have to say it, but you're gonna have to deal with them, with their stank attitude, with their looks. You got to deal with them in line. You're gonna deal with people. It's another good point. You're gonna deal with people that don't understand personal space. You're gonna deal with people that they'll be in line. They'll be right on top of you. Now I know what you're thinking, Danny. I can go on a typical Tuesday and experience those same things when it comes to people. Absolutely. But in life, I would at least advise that playing probability is always in your best interest. So what do I mean by that? It is more probable to happen to you if you go on a weekend where there's a large increase in guests in the park, in and around the Disney World greater area. Just because you weigh 550 pounds and you're a woman and you could probably play nose tackle for the Cleveland Browns, that doesn't give you the right to just barrel through people in your cart. You're gonna have to deal with crying children. Again, I have children of my own. Went through that. Went through them crying when we leave the park. They got all the energy in the park, and you know how it is. When you leave the park, all of a sudden they're depleted of energy. But, I'm more sympathetic. Obviously, I'm very sympathetic to children. But grown adults can be a little bit frustrating. All right, guys. So if you're interested in booking a vacation during the holiday... So just to rehash the 3 reasons to avoid Disney during a holiday weekend or a long weekend. Increase in financial burden. Pack your patience. You're going to have to wait a lot of lines. Long lines. Even for coffee, food, it doesn't matter. And lastly, like I said, you're going to meet some great people, cast members, guests, but you will inevitably have to deal with not very smart people. And by smart, I don't mean book smart. I mean just plain old common sense and manners. I want to say this for the record. A lot of channels out there say, we're going to give you we're going to give you the authentic view of Disney. This is what Disney really is like, okay? It's still the most magical place on earth. It's still a place that when you walk down Main Street in Magic Kingdom, not many places like that in the world that make you feel that. So again, just plan smart. Come during the time, if you can, where the crowd levels are going to be lower. It's always busy. I believe if you add up the 4 parks, It's the #1 tourist destination on earth. So again, if you can come during the week or just a basic weekend, that's probably a lot smarter than coming during a holiday weekend. So again, if you're 642, there is not a Golden Corral in Epcot. And the last thing I want to say, for those that get bothered about people that are so obese that they can't walk, that they have to use one of those scooters, if you are someone that's actually injured or disabled, or you have a real medical condition, then obviously you should be allowed to use those devices. But when it comes to your own personal weight, that's you. You got to take accountability for that, as have I. You know, and look, if you go visit somewhere, anywhere else in the world, let's say you go visit the pyramids in Egypt, right? If you're so heavy that you physically cannot walk out to the pyramids, they're not gonna come and get you 2 camels so you can sit on them. You know what I mean? So like, again, and a lot of times in my experience, those people riding those scooters or whatever they are, they can be very rude and they can be very nasty. Yeah, it's just my personal opinion. You know, it's not all roses and sunshine when you go to the park. So either way, that's what it is. All right, that's gonna do it for today. Tell me down below, what are the biggest headaches that you've gone through when you go to Disney World or the theme parks on a weekend? Like, subscribe, please share the video. And again, I'm always gonna keep it real on this channel. If something or someone bothers me and I wanna make it vocal, I will. Typically, I'll keep it very general. I won't call people out, you know, by name, even though sometimes I've wanted to, but I still keep it as civil as possible, and that's how we're gonna roll here, okay? Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for growing the community, and let's keep it going. I'm out. See you tomorrow.